Hello, I hope all of you can hear me. Uh, Good evening to all of you. My name is Advaitaras, and today I'll be talking on a very important topic about studying in Canada, especially knowing about the application process, how it works. I'll also be talking a bit about what are the benefits of studying in Canada, how you can get yourself into the whole process. But before I go to it, let me talk a bit about myself and my company. So, Go to University is basically your one stop destination to find the best solutions in terms of university options that you can have abroad. We have different options on our website. When you log in, you can find and compare two universities, four universities, or even many universities together to find the right set of options along with the requirements for them. So, no matter which country you're looking forward to, you can definitely choose Go to University as an option to select. Then we also can probably help you understand what are the requirements, how you can go about and take care of your entire admission process with our expert counseling team. Hello there. Hello, everyone. And yes, so now I know that everyone can hear me. Let me begin with the agenda for today, that is Canada. So we will have a lot of things to discuss along the line. And what are those things that we gonna cross today so that we know each and everything about it? Also, before I go or before I complete the whole process, I would also like to tell you that yes, I'll be trying to finish. I'll try to finish my presentation as soon as possible, so that in a way, you will be able to access the questions earlier. I'll also try to share a poll later on just to see how well and how confident you are in answering the questions and understanding what we did today in the whole webinar. All right, then let's get to it. So keep your questions for later. Let me finish quickly with what I have to say. All right, cool. So let us begin with what we will discuss today. So what's there on the agenda? So we will be starting with discussing why Canada, you know, in terms of the options that you have around the world. You have USA, you have Australia, you have New Zealand, you have UK. But then why Canada? Why should I look into Canada as an option? What are the benefits or what are the advantages, which will definitely come to at a later point in the presentation. But first, we will focus on why Canada. Then we will talk, or rather, I'll uh, help you understand the popular courses that there are. Then we'll talk about the requirements. Then slowly to how does the application process work, because that's a very important process. You will have a lot of universities to look into. I mean, I've just noted down a few which are, noteworthy, and you can look at those. Then obviously, like I said before, benefits of studying in Canada, and then probably how we as an institute, as Go to University, as can help you and provide you with the best of the services that can get you into any college in Canada, right? So these are the contents of the discussion for today. Let's quickly roll towards it. Yes. So I am getting a couple of questions and I've kept them open. I'm really sorry. But let me finish this quickly so that I can get to the questions and try and help you answer those questions. Okay. Now, coming to the first point, which is why Canada. First of all, talking about Canada, it's a wonderful place. It's a safe environment to study and live in. And students, over a period of time, with their experiences, have shared that with us. In my 8 years of experience, I have shared that with a lot of students, and I have seen a lot of students going on to continuing their journey in Canada, career wise. So I feel that it is a wonderful place to study. Now, talking from a factual point of view, right? The tuition fees of some of the universities are low, right? So they start from, say, around $20,000, $18,000, and it can go up to $60,000. But there are options which are cheaper in terms of colleges and universities, which we can look into according to your profile. And that is why Canada is still one of the destinations that's been talked about quite a lot. Then, like I said, you have different array of courses that are available in these colleges and universities, right from bachelor's to postgraduates, which you can look into and try to make sense out of which are the courses which are beneficial, which are the courses which are not beneficial. Obviously, we all know and we all have heard of the PR option that we can get once we complete our education and complete a certain post-study work visa, which we get after finishing our education. So yes, the PR option is also there, and it's one of the reasons why students go to Canada. But if you are looking from a study perspective, from a career perspective, that is a goal which you should have for a little later stage. Yes, that should be one of your priorities, but not your top priority. The top priority should be finalizing something which is related to your career and the options that you can have in terms of universities. Then, especially or more frequently, it happens with undergraduate students, you get phenomenal opportunities to work alongside your study, not just part-time here, but something called as co-op, which is a learning process where you work for either one term of your summer or two or three, depending upon whether you could take that or not. And that is something which not only helps you practically earning money, but it also helps you build a network. And that is something which is very important when you go to a new country, right? So when you build a network, you understand different things. And I think that is one of the crucial factors or determinants that students should look forward to, especially undergraduates, for applying to Canada. Then you can learn from the best of faculties that you can get in your colleges. And like I said, obviously, when it comes to diversity, people are traveling from different parts of the world. And on an average, the number of students that apply to Canada each year, specific from the international bracket, has kept on increasing. And to a surprise, that even in COVID times and after COVID now, uh, things are only rising. And that should build a sort of confidence within you as students that this is a good place to study. Because when I'm thinking from a study perspective, I will calculate all these things, right? I mean, I will look at, the determinants. For instance, what country do I want to go into? Okay, Canada. What college do I want to go into? That's my second. The university or the college becomes my second point. Now, since I've already shortlisted my college, my country, my next point is I'm looking from the cost perspective. What will be the cost? And last but not the least, I will also look at the course, because hey, I don't want to sacrifice on my course just for doing or studying anything. So that's something that's a particular aim that I have, which is very, very important, right? So these are the factors that obviously we look into while dealing with a particular candidate who, he or she, when they come to us at GoToUniversity and want to know more about Canada and how they want to develop that. And we look into the prospect of helping them understand and go ahead with the whole process. Yes, guys, I can see a lot of questions and hands being raised. Just give me some time. Let me just finish this presentation up and I will individually answer all your questions. Okay. So that's particularly how I'll be going about it. Thank you. Now, these are the popular courses that you would find in Canada. So if you see, it's not really different to any other country that you choose for education. For instance, you have um, engineering, you have computer science and technology, which is very popular. The other bit of popular courses in Canada also talk about business administration, psychology, nursing, media and communications, healthcare. All of these things peculiarly are very, very popular. One other course which I also like to talk about, but that's part of business and communication, so I don't really include, one is Journalism, that's also very popular, especially in a university like York or Western. And same universities also have phenomenal courses for economics, uh, along with econometrics. So that comes as part of business administration. So I haven't separately tried to name them as institutes and colleges which you can focus on. So I think that's wonderful to look at, right? So when we talk about these particular courses, there are universities that we look into. Now, we already know when we are looking from Canadian education perspective, right? The first two names that come to our mind and which we all know are University of Toronto and University of British Columbia, right? Those are the popular names that pop up in our head. The other three which follow these two with popularity will be McMaster, University of Waterloo, and McGill University. So these five are the top schools where you can get any of these courses. Then you have the likes of Alberta, Calgary, York, Ryerson, Weston, right? Manitoba, Carleton, Trent, Lakehead. All of these universities are also equally good enough and competent. Now, when you have the likes of 20, 30 colleges, a mix of colleges and universities all over Canada, the important agenda should be to which colleges should I apply for? Like, for instance, if it's engineering or core engineering, should I be focusing more on McGill and McMaster than Toronto and UBC, or I should focus on them? Or should I be focusing when it comes to media more on York and Western rather than Toronto and UBC? So all of these questions are particularly answered in our counseling meetings. When we have a one-on-one session with students, with parents, we understand their requirements, we understand what they need, we understand how they are looking for that particular course or that particular institute in this particular way. And that's how we can reflect on it. Right. So that's the agenda. That's how we overall develop the whole thing. Right. Moving on to the application requirements. Now, these are very, very important and have to be looked into in a proper way. Like, you need to think about what kind of options are given and what kind of options are very useful. For instance, Canada, more or less, looks into academic documents. When I talk about academic documents for undergraduates, they'll be looking into your 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th predicted grades. For postgrad people, they will be looking into your entire bachelor's degree. Right? Obviously, for test requirements, and also a very important point, most of the courses in Canada, and this is for undergraduate students, okay, not for the postgrad students. So undergraduate students, make a note of it. For most popular courses in Canada, you will need to have high school English and high school math as a requirement because Canada wants it. Canada wants to see, even if I am going for, say, BA in psychology, they would still, some universities would ask, like, till what grade have you done math? How much do you understand math and logic? Because they are connected, and for obvious reasons, academic English as well, right? For test requirements, for undergraduate students, they look into IELTS. Obviously, TOEFL is another option, right? But you're looking into Canada, then IELTS is the best option to go ahead with. For graduates, sorry, they look into Ielts, and along with that, if your course demands, if it's an MBA, then we will look into either GMAT or GRE. And for postgraduate, certain courses, they require GRE as well. Now, we all know that it was optional during COVID, but now things have started to change. Now things have started to move on. And we as an institute have always preached that if you do these kind of competitive standardized tests, it's always beneficial because it shows a certain set of positivity along with your readiness to take up the mantle of completing these requirements. And that is why we say that you follow it to the T, right? Then your resume and work experience certificates. Now, this is especially important for postgraduate applicants. Your work experiences, your resumes, your internships, reflecting on your resume obviously are going to pay rich dividends. Then essays and activities list. Now, this is generally asked for undergraduate applicants, more or less for the postgrad applicants. Postgrad applicants will always get something called as a statement of purpose or a personal statement or both. So in a university, they might ask you both the documents to be submitted. And that's something that we work with students individually to sit and understand the requirement of that, how the personal statement works, what is the statement of purpose, and how do we reflect on it. And that's exactly right. Now that's something which is very, very important. Then obviously the recommendation letters, right? And backlog and gap letter. Now, the last point is specifically for postgrad applicants. Sometimes while studying at your bachelor's level, you do have a certain backlog in a subject or two. You need to be upfront about the backlogs, even if you have cleared them, because certain universities have restrictions on the amount of backlogs that you could have. No matter how much you scored at the end, they still will look as to how many backlogs you had and try to make sense out of the whole situation. That's one of the points that you should be absolutely aware about, right? Now talking about application. Now this, what I have on the screen is mostly for the undergraduate students. Postgraduate students, I will explain once I finish the undergraduate explanation. Now for undergraduate students is very simple. You select which regions, which universities, then if they fall in Ontario, you apply through OUAC 105. If they fall into the province of British Columbia, then there is something called as Education BC Planner, right? And then the rest of the universities have individual applications. For instance, University of Alberta, University of Calgary, Dalhousie University, University of Manitoba, McGill University. These are, I mean, Quebec-based universities, McGill and University of Manitoba. So they do have their individual applications. The process is fairly simple. So first you apply through these apps or individual apps for universities to know and your interest and inclination to study in their university. Then they will give you the access of the portal of their individual university. Once you get the portal access, you fill in the requirements as asked. For instance, if they have asked for your academic transcripts, upload them. If they have asked for Ielts requirements, send it to them and also upload them. If they have asked for certain essays and activities to be done, please complete that. And once that's done, wait for your offers. Remember, Canada will always give you conditional offers. And in the letter that you receive, that is the offer letter, there will be clearly mentioned your conditions to complete. So never forget to read the conditions in your offer letter, because a lot of times that small part gets missed and it creates chaos later on. All right, that's one. Now moving towards post-grad applications. Post-grad applications are done through individual portals directly rather than OUAC or BC Planner, or you individually go to University of Toronto, you select your course, you apply, you submit the documents they have asked and wait for their call. Again, their call might be conditional or unconditional depending upon if you finished your bachelor's or completing or at the fag end of your bachelor's degree. So it all boils down to that process, right? And for you, additional documents will include recommendation letters specifically, and resumes and work experience certificates, right? All right. These are some of the universities, but I think I've already explained a lot about universities and spoken about them. But these are a few of the options that you can look into, especially, and colleges as well. So that's something which you can look into. Now, what are the benefits of studying in Canada? So basically, you have higher standard and quality of education that you get is amazing. You have multiple options of choosing from degrees, foundation. And like I told you, co-op is the best advantage that you can have while studying in Canada. You get your post-study work permit, you get to do part-time jobs. It's a safe, multicultural and working environment, welcoming environment for students. And I think that just adds up overall to how the universities are ranked in this part of the world. So if you see, the ranking of these universities is quite globally acclaimed. And I feel not just the likes of Toronto or British Columbia's or McGill's. You can look at universities like Alberta, Calgary, Dalhousie, Manitoba, fantastic college, even Ryerson, York, Western, they have quite, a set opinion of them. And every year I see a transition from one college to another. Like this year, there were a lot of applicants who applied to the University of Waterloo rather than University of Toronto. Now that's a very distinguishing fact, right? So it all depends and boils down to where a student wants to go and what he or she finds interesting in terms of the course. So it's not just about, a permanent residency or, part-time jobs or post-study work permit. At the end of the day, your thought process should be about aligning your course requirement with the university's course requirement and trying to balance that out so that you move in the right direction of your career, right? And last but not the least, obviously, you will look into the prospect of having affordable tuition fees. So some of these universities do also provide you with scholarships, which to me is quite beneficial, because when you look at it from a point of view of scholarship, you tend to think, how many percent scholarship can I get? Can I get 10? Can I get 20? Can I get 100? Now that depends on individual universities and the amount that they have for international students, but they do offer. Okay, so these are my reasons for suggesting or benefits, how we can help. Now I've been explaining that all along the way, but I'll just quickly run through it. So we help you evaluating your profile, and if you need something that will enhance it further, we suggest that. We have a team of expert counselors who sit with the student and understand that requirements and explain it to them. We help in course and college research, because that's important. Even though we have, say, around 30 colleges, we need to find the right set of universities for you, or the right set of universities that you'll be applying to. We help in editing and drafting the essays, the personal statements, the statement of purposes. For that matter, even at times we have drafted the recommendation letters, right? So that's important too. We help you with the application. We help you with the interview preparation. There is a very nice, something that they have, especially for, engineering students at times or business students at times. They go through something called as a Kira interview. A Kira interview is something that is conducted by the universities to understand and know the students more. And sometimes it's self-evaluated online interview. So there's no person there, but all those questions are all set. So how you approach it, how you give it, and it's something for 15 to 20 minutes. So that is something that we also help you with, right? We help you with the visa guidance and assistance in filling the same. And obviously, we help you with pre-departure and accommodation support to help you understand where you fit the best. So basically helping you with some of contacts of students who are already studying in universities that you're going to be a part of, and that could benefit you really well, right? Now, if you want individual appointments, if you want to know more, if you want to meet our counselors, please get in touch with these people. For UAE region, please get in touch with Miss Sarah. And for India, please get in touch with Mr. Varun Iyer, because that is going to be very, very important. Now, I can see there are quite a lot of questions, so I'll just quickly go through the questions one by one. And in the meantime, I'm sharing or launching a poll for you all to understand. Okay, so you all can attempt the poll. I can answer the questions. Okay, let me start. Someone had said, hello, hello, sir. Hello. with 70% in bachelor's, can one get admit from machine learning masters in one of the top universities? Yes, we can. But when you say, again, it's all about how you define top universities. Like, what is it about the universities that you want to know? So, for instance, we can look into the options that are there and probably try to work on how we can supplement that 70% with other documents that will help you get done with it. Right. So that is something that we can definitely look into. Can I do a certificate program in Canada? Imran, I would suggest you should take up a master's if you're going in Canada. Certificate programs certainly are good choices at times, but sometimes they do not really provide with the kind of information overall a degree needs. And they are neither bachelor's nor master's completely. So they're somewhere in between, which I find a little difficult to interpret at times. But you can fairly go ahead and do certificate programs in Canada. There is no such reduction. And you have a gap of say 6 to 8 years, but if you have been working throughout, that shouldn't be a problem. Ms. Lina says we are looking for psychology program for undergraduate. Yes, there are phenomenal programs. There are very good programs in Western. You can check in UBC. Toronto also has a good program, right? So we can, probably help you with a lot of other programs related to, once we sit down and understand and analyze it individually. So that'll be really helpful. Now, conditional letter program in University Canada West. I'm looking for January. Can you please brief about? Okay, this I can answer personally about the student direct stream program, but not like this. So we need to understand how and what exactly you want to go through the SDS stream, right? Obviously, you're from India, so you need to understand how you apply for the visa through the SDS stream, right? That's particularly your question. So that we can tackle individually if you meet us. Okay. Uh, can I get a good admit for big data? Yes, definitely. 7 CGPA in the top 10 colleges. Yes, we can definitely look for Samara. We can definitely try and understand what are your reply requirements and how do we go about the whole situation, right? So we can definitely look into the possibilities of getting into the top 10 colleges. We can share the options with you once we have analyzed what other parameters do they have for big data, right? They, like your experience, will it cover for the 7 CGPA and turn it into an 8 or an 8.5? So that'll be beneficial looking at it. Requirement, there are no hard requirements as such for scholarship, because most of these scholarships which I'm referring to are based on it's based on your academics. So Canada is, like I said in the beginning, majority of these universities look into colleges which have like are looking from the point of view of gaining experience and sort of looking into academic perspective more than anything else. So that is why these colleges will look into the options that you offer them, you submit your profile to them, and considering all of that, they will look into the scholarship options. They'll also help you fill out a few forms at times or a few essay questions, but that's about it when they look into the scholarship aspect. Usually you can, but I need to confirm with an IB certificate, because usually we've done it with an IB diploma. But we have to check which universities will look to accept university certificate in Canada. That we will have to check, right? All right, ma'am. Hi, sir. I want to ask, is there any option for doing diploma or bachelor in biotechnology with having studying maths only in grade 10th without having math in grade 11th or 12th? Okay, ma'am. Now, looking from that perspective, we can definitely we can think, but bachelor in biotechnology, if I'm not wrong, will need math. So there is another option which you can check online, something called as virtual high school, VHS, where each university courses from Ontario are completed. In that, there is a course on maths, which the students can complete to fulfill the requirement of math in these universities in Canada, right? So virtual high school is something that you can look into, and that could be beneficial. Is it true that one needs a CGPA of 8 plus? Yes, definitely. The more the merrier, my friend. The more the merrier, for especially when we want to get into, the top set of colleges, and uh, they look into the higher the grades, the probabilities and possibilities are phenomenal. Most universities, ma'am, for co-op, most universities have co-op options. We just need to find the right options with co-op. So if we have for a program like psychology, we can definitely recommend that and look into the options. We can check at York, we can check at Western, we can check at UBC, even Toronto for that matter, and Ryerson as well. All right. Yes, again, the cost and consultation and everything, we can help you understand if you meet us individually. Now, for that matter, for everyone, we are also giving out participation certificates to all the attendees, which could be really beneficial to you as well in the future. So if you see, there is an email, which is sarah@gotouniv.com, which is the email ID of Miss Sarah. Please send her details that you attended this webinar and you would like a certificate, or you would like to meet us or like to schedule a meeting to discuss further processes, and we can definitely get you started with it and help you with it. I've done my postgraduate studies in special education and MEd. Ma'am, this is very personal as a question, so we will have to look into options for you, uh, and we will have to suggest according to that. And it depends on the availability. Now, even in master's program, we have to see the possibility of the professors as well, because the faculty also makes a decision before the college accepts you in some of the universities. I hope you guys know that fact. Sometimes at a master's level, the faculty has to accept, the professors have to accept you, and then the university actually accepts your application and candidature for the application in these universities. So for this course, definitely there has to be an acceptance at the practical level, right? But is it possible? That's a very difficult question to answer, my friend. But you know how competitive CS programs are these days. Computer science, data analytics, business analytics, data science, these courses are very, very popular. So I can't really say that with a 7.56 CGPA, you have a clear chance of winning or losing. But I can say that you should definitely try for it. You should go for it along with other options. So you should always go with options. You should categorize your options in dream, reach, and safe categories. So when you have these three categories, you know that even in all the categories or possibilities that I have posted, I will still get an admission. That's the approach that you need to have. How was liberal arts? Okay, I'm going to stop the poll now. I think most of you have answered. Thank you so much for your valuable participation. I'm sharing the results as well so that you could see how many of you got it correct. So currently I'm in 12th standard science with math. So when to apply for Ielts? You can directly start now. You can email Sarah ma'am. We can have a consultation because we need to start now with your process, right? How was liberal arts with business program? That's an excellent choice to make, but usually in certain colleges like Waterloo as well, Waterloo has a combined program, I think, of business with, I keep forgetting the name, Wilfrid Laurier University. I'm sorry. They have a program which goes for that. So that's something which is very essential to look into. And if you could look into that program, it's a phenomenal program for undergraduate students. Yes, thanks. Now, these note courses will be good terms of job prospects after doing pre-medical biology and physics. But what are the courses which the students see? All of it. And for me, it's always a question that what should I do? So when a student comes to me, I sit with them and try to understand and analyze from their perspective as to what they want to study. It's not about what scope is there, because yes, that's one important factor that we need to consider, and I completely agree with it. But the second important factor is my curiosity, my interest, my eagerness towards a particular major that I want to study. Now, if I don't align those two things together, I think I might be at a losing end. So that is exactly the thing that we need to consider before choosing any major for a student, right, ma'am? And if I want to go for masters in 24, when should I connect with you all? You can connect even now. We can discuss the probability, the possibilities, and then maybe you could start now, or maybe you could start next year as well. It completely depends on you. I have a few questions in the chat as well. Okay, I think I've answered a few of them. Yes, please contact and request for participation certificates with Sarah ma'am. Will give you a certification completion, this certificate of completion for this session. That's completely possible. And like I said, there are many colleges. I think Shovik, I answered your question already. Advanced diplomas, we'll have to be very careful. We have to look into the right kind of option, right? And only then we can look into those questions. Now, yes, it's a language proficiency test. IELTS is a language proficiency test. So you have to think from the point of view of how proficient you are in the language. So a score of about 7, and individually nothing below 7 is great. But usually for applications, they look into a score of 6.5 overall and nothing below 6 in individual section. Now, scholarship is usually based on merit, so which will more or less classify or categorize from your academic stature, right? So that will be looked into from that perspective. I mean, it depends. Now, if you're applying to Quebec, they might consider, because Quebec is a French-speaking province, as we know, right? So that is one of the options that we can look into, and that is something that they can consider. But I can't guarantee they will look into that as a comparison to a low CGPA or an extension to scholarships. No, that that will definitely not be the case, right? So it will always be your academic stature. uh, Ma'am, I'll have to look into the options which I can suggest for you. And after a bit of study only, because yours is a very, very specific and critical, curriculum that we overall talk about, right? Education industry in terms of masters in education, specialized education. So that's something that, we need to cater to and understand it properly, and then probably suggest colleges for you. There are many universities, like you can look into Trent University, you can look into Lakehead University. Those are quite low when it comes to fee structures. York University as well. The rest are a bit expensive, but Alberta, Calgary, Carleton, Dalhousie, these are quite good names in the market that people have been looking forward to. And I feel these are good colleges and known colleges from Canada. All right. That's my time. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope this was quite a beneficial session for all of you, as it was for me. It was a privilege and a prestige to sit in front of you and help you understand and answer some of your questions. Please feel free to contact to below numbers on emails with an appointment. We will have a free counseling session to help you understand where this can take you. And you never know, you might end up in Canada pretty soon. All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. That's really nice of you. Thank you so much. It was a great session for me as well, knowing you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a good evening.